don't believe in the whole pick me thing because there's no solid definition. Honey, a married woman has already been validated by her husband. So how is she a pick me? She's been picked. It's just all over the place. Anybody is a pick me. A traditional woman is a pick me. A stay-at-home mom is a pick me. A woman who fights for male issues is a pick me. A woman who calls out the bad behavior in women is a pick me. Even if you're not even trying to seek validation from that. The whole pick me girl is just ridiculous, honestly. It's just another way for us as women to destroy the reputation and also the credibility of somebody. If anybody calls me a pick me, I'm like, yes, I've been picked, honey. Over 10 years, I've been picked. And I've been picked by the Most High. So it's not a diss at all.
The pygmisha is a woman who aligns herself with men's arguments against women. And looks to be sort of that female ally that also feels like women need to go back into the kitchen and women need to not work and women need to rely on men and women need to go back to traditional roles. Whatever it is that's kind of anti-women, a pygmisha is someone who will publicly sort of attack women and align herself with these men because she's looking to be the token woman in the sort of manosphere environment who's held up as like the ideal woman. And often these are women with significant failed relationships who themselves have never been chosen to be the exalted wife and are just looking to create chaos so they can get the attention that they have not gotten, that they feel incredibly entitled to.
Then what do you want to talk about? You're a pick-me girl, Anna. You hate other women and only feel validated by the attention of men. It's not your fault. You're a toxic byproduct of a patriarchal society that protects men at any cost.
All right. How are you, wives and future wives? I hope you are good. Don't forget to like, comment, and subscribe. Thank you for coming to my channel. Share this to someone you believe will benefit from it. I have a Cashapp, Proverbs 31 University. Donate if you feel led to so we can spread this ministry wide. I have an email list. Go ahead and sign up. And also, I have a wife mindset guide. It is free. The link is in the description. It's going to help you have the mindset of a wife. A wife isn't someone that's just married under the law, but she is a mindset. You have to have the right mindset to be married and stay married. I want to talk about this whole situation with being a pick-me girl. I've been called a pick-me girl online. Basically, the definition of a pick-me girl is a woman who desires male validation so much that she's willing to do anything, say anything for that man's validation. A pick-me girl these days can be, it's not even just, a woman that seeks male validation. First of all, every woman seeks male validation. Every woman wants the validation of her father, her husband, or God. God is a man. Let's not trip. God is a man, and you want to be in his will. The Bible says to consider your ways, right? The Bible says to work out your own salvation to see if you are in the faith. You want to be validated by God. Now, once you become saved, you are validated by God, but you still want to make sure you're on this journey. You're checking in with God, and you're like, am I doing the right thing? Am I on the right path? So to sit here and say that women shouldn't seek male validation makes no sense. And vice versa. Men seek female validation. Okay? That's just what it is. The Bible says that women were made for men. So a woman is going to seek the validation of a man, period. Whether it's in a positive way or a negative way. A lot of women seek male validation in a negative way. By taking off their clothes and exposing themselves, by acting in a way that is unbecoming of them, by throwing away their bodies and what's sacred to them, that should be sacred to them, for a man's attention. A lot of those women didn't have a father to validate them. They don't have God to validate them. They don't have a husband to validate them. So they go and they seek validation from men who don't care nothing about them, and it's a false validation. So to sit here and say that a woman should not seek validation from a man is ridiculous, because we do. Now, how you do it, that matters.
Exactly.
Because I've said this before, women, we're very influential. How we use our influence matters. And the fact that so many women want to call someone a pick-me, it's weird. Like, okay, a woman who seeks male validation. That's a pick me. Okay. But then a woman who serves her husband, wants to be a traditional woman, actually likes taking care of her husband. That's also a pick me, because I've seen people call women like that a pick me. A traditional woman who is married. That's a pick me. A woman who enjoys cooking for her husband and serving her husband and loving her husband is a pick me. So a woman in love is a pick me. Okay. Then you have, women who are men's rights activists, or who just call out the hypocrisy between the sexes when it comes to the female side. Women who want to take up for men and say, hey, there are double standards that a lot of women live by and they don't want to believe it. And so I'm going to tell you some of those things. And I'm also going to tell you some of the issues that men face that should not be turned away, that we should not be like laughing about and we should take seriously. Well, that's also a pick me. Because you're taking up for men. You're taking up for the patriarchy. So the definition of a pick-me, it doesn't even make sense. Like most movements that are demonic, they don't have a foundation. They don't make sense because anybody is a pick-me. A woman who calls out other women and says, your behavior is absolutely wrong is a pick-me.
Not on my watch.
It has nothing to do with men. But if a woman just says the way you are acting as a woman is foul, oh, you're a pick-me. Because how dare you criticize a woman publicly or tell a woman what she can and cannot do with her body or can and cannot do. You're a pick-me. So it's like the definition doesn't even make sense. A pick-me basically is a woman to a lot of people who doesn't fit the mold or the status quo of a lot of women today. That's what it seems to be to me.
Period.
Now, are there some women out there who, may use some of the examples that I've given on purpose to gain male attention? Sure. But does that cover every woman who go along with the examples that I've given, who are married and enjoy a traditional life? Women who speak out on men's issues, women who try to hold other women accountable. Like, is that everyone that's a woman? No. Jordan Peterson, he is a psychologist, and he says that the way women fight is more verbal attacks.
People have looked at how women express. Look, women have to express aggression somehow unless you're willing to say that they're not aggressive. They tend not to do it physically, not to the degree men do, so they use other channels. And what other channels are there other than physical aggression if you're going to be aggressive? Well, you go after people verbally. You go after them with innuendo and gossip and reputation destruction. And that's how it works.
And just to be clear, that you think that's predominantly a female modus operandi?
It isn't that I think that.
Well, I'm
it's that the
you.
clinical literature indicates that. It isn't that I think it.
Well, I'm not interviewing the clinical literature. I'm interviewing you. What do you think?
Well, I'm a psychologist and a scientist,
You
and I
consult
tend to base my opinions on what I've read in the broad, relevant clinical literature. I'm not making this stuff up. I studied antisocial behavior for like 15 years. I'm actually quite an expert on it.
Men are more aggressive physically. When men have an issue, they are more likely to deal with each other physically, right? Because they're strong and that they need to get that aggression out. And that's a part of masculinity, aggression. And physical aggression is a major part of it. But with women, the way we get our frustrations out or our, if we're upset, our aggression is more emotional damage.
Emotional damage.
It's more, reputation destruction. Women, the way we are aggressive is reputation. We will destroy your reputation with our mouths. And that's why the mouth is so important for a woman. That's why the Bible says life and death comes in the power of the tongue. But the women, we are excellent when it comes to, we know what to say to make a person squirm. We can get to the crux, we can get to the deepest and bring that out and say stuff that will really hurt and it's really painful when we feel attacked or when we are upset. And that's why the mouth is so powerful for a woman. It's important that we learn how to use our mouths for positivity. Use our mouths in a way that honors God. Use our mouths in a way that uplifts and encourages and supports and respects. Because if we use our mouths in another way that is dangerous and negative, that's bad. And a lot of people, you know how they say sticks and stones could break my bones, but words would never hurt me? That's a lie. That's why it's something that kids say, because it's not true.
It's false. No way. Not this time. We created it.
Not this time.
No, not this time. It's totally made up. Pure fiction.
It's not true. When you grow, you realize that sometimes words hurt more than actual physical harm, because those wounds will heal. The physical wounds will heal, but the memories of what was said sometimes can last. And so what I'm saying is that a lot of times when women don't like other women, they're going to say things and label them in a way to outcast them. Because another thing about women is that we are more communal than men are. We like groups. We want to be accepted in the group. And so to be outcasted in a group is horrible. If I know that you're a pick-me, and I heard that this person is a pick-me, I'm less likely going to listen to them. I'm less likely going to give this person the time of day. I'm less likely going to stay up to date with this person. I want to get away from this person because Sharon told me that you were a pick-me. Or I heard that you were a pick-me, or I heard you were this and that. Which is why gossip is awful. And the Bible in Proverbs talks about how bad gossip is. It destroys the chances of someone actually having a relationship with someone before they even get to that point because of what they heard. It develops preconceived notions. Well, I heard you do this and I heard you do that. Therefore, I don't want to get a part of your life. Instead of me investigating for myself. The issue is the women that haven't been picked that like to talk about the women who have been picked. Ma'am, let's focus on getting you to a point that you can be picked. Before you concern yourself with a woman who is picked and what she's doing. Because I'm going to tell you, women who are picked move differently. And that's where the jealousy comes in for women who are not. They don't know why they haven't been picked. They want to be picked. And so instead of getting with that woman that they deem is a pick-me and saying, how can I get mentorship? How can I get picked? How can I get to where you are?
Help me!
They want to hate and say, you're a pick-me. Instead of doing the work, because sometimes it's so easy to just call someone a name and move on instead of doing the work to get to where you need to be. No woman wants to be alone by herself. It's not even in our biology. We like community. But more and more, feminism is teaching women that they need to be alone, prolong, or not get married at all. They don't need kids. They don't need community. They don't need nothing. They just need a like-minded community of women who just, at this point, don't like men and want to be bitter all day. So if you want to call me a pick-me girl, I've been picked. Thank you. That's a compliment. Let's turn it around. Let's turn that around. Instead of using it as a negative thing, I'm picked. Picked. Updates coming very, very soon. God bless.